For today's practice, you might want to have a blanket for cushion and a block to sit on or to use in a couple other ways, and any other props that you happen to have. So I happen to have two blocks, but we won't necessarily use them. I like to keep things a little bit proppy, but relatively minimalist. So I thought today we could go over some foundations of yoga just to kind of root into our like physical muscle memory, a couple of basic yoga positions and remembering the intention behind them. So we'll start, of course, with sitting. The actual word for yoga poses in Sanskrit is asana, and asana means seat. So when we say, you know, um, Natarajasana, it means seat of the dancer. And when we say Sukhasana, which is one way of sitting, it means sitting or a sweet way of sitting, like a resting way of sitting. And so if you're sitting on the floor, cross-legged, but you feel your back rounding, if you feel like, gosh, this isn't the most comfortable position for me, you're actually not in Sukhasana. So Sukhasana are like cross-legged sitting position. I am a big fan of having a little bolster, folded blanket, throw pillow, something under your bum. And then if your knees appreciate a little support, you can take the same thing, blanket, throw pillow, folded towel under your knees. If your knees are pretty high up, the block might also be useful. Let's bring one hand over our hearts. This is in remembrance of the actual purpose of all of this. It really does nobody any good if we come to the mat to work on ourselves and we leave the mat still kind of thinking mostly about ourselves. So our task here on the mat is to commit to being a more integrated human being, integrating mind, body, and spirit, and also being willing to see how everything is connected in the world around us and how important it is that we play a role in actively creating the world we want to see and play a role in also actively creating the lives we want to live in for ourselves as best as we can. So we commit, we close our eyes. I want you to feel the effortlessness of being upright. You don't have to effort to lift your chest or effort to get taller. You can actually just stack your bones, rest in that stacking. Pranayama is the word for breath control in yoga, and you don't have to even control your breath in my class. You can let it do whatever it wants to do naturally. My gentle suggestion is to breathe in and out through your nose as best as you're able. If you feel congested, of course, do what you need to do. And with your hands over the heart, if you're imitating my position, palms down, you can feel a little bit of movement in your chest. You can feel a little bit of movement in your belly, perhaps. And this is good and natural. Allowing the ribs to spread out a bit on inhale and to contract, soften back on one another as you exhale. You can also spend this time to notice anything that you're grateful for. I invite you to think of the glass half full, being grateful for your health today, whatever it is that brought you to this mat in this moment. And we'll interlace our fingers. Slowly inhale, open up your eyes, and let's start warming up our wrists. Yoga, perhaps more than other movement modalities out there, really invites a lot of time on our hands. And very often that's in a relatively intense wrist position, that 90-degree wrist position. So I'm going to offer you some alternatives to that today, but we're also going to just move to warm up the wrists. There's a common misperception that stretching is a form of warm up. So, like pulling one finger back and then the other, or something like that. Now, certainly that gets your joints moving, but stretching is probably not nearly as good as dynamic movement. So, actually activating your muscles. So, yes, we are going to make some jazz hands right now, and then make fists and make jazz hands and fists to activate those muscles. And then I have a nice big challenge for you, which is to make a little beak with your hands, a little point with your fingers and your thumbs, and to start to draw the biggest possible circles you could draw with your wrists. You can actually see me kind of like shaking and stuttering through some of this range of motion, because who does this, right? Unless you're a gymnast or regularly training in this way, this is a really powerful way to get those muscles to be on board no matter what position your wrist is in. Okay, and go in the other direction if you, like me, two hands was too much at once. Just switch the other direction. And if you want a little bit more instruction, what I would suggest is just making this like literally as big as you can. So you might be able to go real fast here, like you're writing on a chalkboard, but if you make it really extra, then you're going to probably feel some of those muscle shakes. And you can also supinate and pronate your forearm, aka take the soft side of your forearm down or up, and try the wrist in some of those different positions too. Okay, not to spend too much time on this, let's go to the other side. I promise I won't keep you here forever. And make sure you go clockwise and counterclockwise. Somehow I feel stronger on my non-dominant side. Isn't that fascinating? So I'm always thinking through stuff like this when I'm on the yoga mat. I really take this time to observe any asymmetries in the body, and asymmetries are perfectly natural and normal. But I take this time to observe and to make them as um, as smooth as possible, right? Like to try to even things out as much as my body will allow. We're going to bring the hands to either side. Just start to wiggle out, spider walk your right hands to the right. Inhale, palm up, left arm to the sky. Imagine you have a helium balloon and you're just reaching full breath into those upper ribs. And exhale, little bend in the right elbow. Reach. If you're just joining us, this is a beginner-friendly practice today. We're just going to do some good Hatha yoga, some basic yoga shapes. This is a side bend. Inhale through neutral. Walk to the other side. In the Kripalu tradition, we always start with the 6 movements of the spine. So we just got to 2 of them. Big breath here. Take that breath into the top ribs. Don't forget the helium balloon quality first, where you're like lengthening wrist to wrist, then coming over. Inhale up and sweep your arms to the sky. We're going to do number 3 and number 4, which is to twist to your right. We'll hold this position. Don't yank with your arms. Let the arms be more in a resting position. If your rib cage, like mine, wants to kind of pop up here, draw your rib cage down and focus that back shoulder, pulling it back. And then turn your chin as far, keep the position, but turn your chin as far as you can over the front shoulder. I'm getting all kinds of interesting feedback just going side to side. So let's keep going. Connect to breath. And then right back through to center, arms up, and we'll take it to the other side. So number 4, try not to yank with your arms. Just land where your body naturally lands. Appreciate the range of motion that you have. Turn your chin over that back shoulder. Big breath. And over the front and up. Notice what it is to move your chest in one direction and your head in the other direction. When I work with elderly clients, and I also witnessed this in my own grandfather, the neck movement is one of the first things that we tend to lose with age. And so getting your rotation, maintaining your rotation, keeping your rotation of your head and neck is like a nice, youthful elixir. Inhale right back to center, and let's move into our classic cat and cow. So we'll start in seated. Exhale and rock back. Inhale and rock forward. If you want to switch which leg is in front, go for it. Rock back. Inhale forward. Squeeze the shoulder blades. Exhale, really energize the arms and reach. And we shall make our way to neutral. Come off your blanket, keep it nearby. If you have a throw pillow instead, that's fine. It's just something to cushion your knees. We'll come on to hands and knees. So the secret, I think, to happy wrists is to ignore the people who say that your wrists have to be right below the shoulders. So try this with me. Put your wrists right below your shoulders. Like if a little bead of sweat came off, it would land on your wrist, right? And then try just 2 inches in front, 5 centimeters. And then try another contrarian thing. So I've heard from many yoga teachers that our middle fingers should be parallel to one another and to the edge of the mat. I want you to try that position versus try dialing your fingers out a bit. Which one feels better? So for me, it's having the hand a little in front of the shoulders. It's also having the hands dial outward a little so the fingers fan out to the sides. And we'll move through a few more cat and cows. This time we're going to reverse the breathing though. So as you round up towards the sky, leaning into the arms a little, breathe into the back body, and then exhale, belly down. Inhale, broaden. Exhale. Inhale, broaden. Exhale. And then cross at your shins and sit back if this is tolerable to you. Straighten out your legs in front of you, Dandasana, long sit. And then we're going to create a moving Dandasana. So one hip forward, then the other. This coordinates some important diagonal movements in the lower half of your trunk that are actually really, really important for walking, running, efficiency. Once you get centered in the middle of your yoga mat, you can use your hands or go hands-free. So here's what it's like to use your hands. And we're going to roll all the way down onto our backs. Bend your knees. Widen the space between your feet. And just windshield wipe your knees side to side. So in my humble opinion, for what it's worth, I think a good yoga class has a lot of these shapes and dynamic movements. So dynamic means that I'm not static, I'm not in a static hold and just holding this. I'm actually moving, really sweeping in and out of a position or in between two positions. Because they just feel so nice to our joints. So dynamic movements that don't necessarily look like yoga poses, to me, is a really important part of a yoga practice, just because they feel good. Coming back to center, walk your feet in just a touch. And we're going to use the power of our big toes. So this is a little abstract, but think about trying to lift your big toes off the floor and then put them back down. Put your big toes down on the floor, push your big toes down, and then try to use your big toes to flatten your back into the floor. Strange, but potent. You're going to keep your arms relaxed, lift the entirety of your pelvis off the floor, and then start to lift L5. That's your lowest lumbar vertebra. L4, L3, L2, L1, and then vertebra by vertebra up until a straight line bridge. Lower down, vertebra by vertebra back down. You'll have to go slow in the low back region, right? And what you'll notice is, because I have a bun in my hair that I'm not necessarily going to take out right now, I may not even be going as high as a straight line because I don't want to put my neck into like a big strained position with weight on it. So I'm just rolling segment by segment up. These are called segmental bridges or rolling bridges. And I'm building some core stability and some lumbar stability through this. I recommend that if you feel it a lot in your quads or a lot in your low back, that you focus more on just this part, right? And that you can even walk your feet further out, turn your toes up, and that way you'll feel it a little more in the backs of your legs. Let's all do that. Walk your feet out if you haven't already. Knees are now closer to 90 degrees. And then you're going to rise up, dig your heels in, try to traction your spine a little bit by pulling your heels. You can see my head sort of rocking. Whew. And then lower all the way down. One last variation, block between the legs, squeeze your block, rise it up, lift. I've got my block in the medium position, by the way. And lower and release. Keep your left leg on the ground right in the center of your body. Right ankle crosses over, and we're just going to do this active crossing without using the hands. Okay, so I don't know, I think everybody is probably doing this pretty well, but if you are feeling like you actually don't have the strength in the hip to get the ankle over the knee, then what you can do is just land it where it lands, maybe at the shin. Maybe you're sliding up and down the shin. And it's strange, the muscles that you'll feel doing this, right? So once you get the leg in position, whether it's at the front of the shin or the top of the thigh, you're going to float your bottom leg up. Keep your feet relatively active here, and then just sort of pulse in. So a little bit of core work. It might look like the main thing that I'm doing is bringing my legs to my chest, but what I'm actually doing is I'm thinking about the pelvis, and you can see it there, this bowl-shaped part of my body, and I'm spilling the pelvis backwards. That's how you get the muscles of the belly involved, aka your abdominals. Try not to use your arms, cross them over your chest if you'd like. And then last one, settle. Since your hips might feel uneven right now, rock them side to side. And then back to center. We'll do the same thing, but the right foot stays down. Left leg, you either slide it up and down the shin or you cross ankle to the top of the knee. So it's foot down to the ground, ankle up to where it's going to land. It's interesting if this is more available to you on one side versus the other, if one side got tired. Pay attention to that. Land, legs lift. Remember, it's not about like fitting into geometric shapes, right? So sometimes a yoga teacher will say, square your shin off to your shoulders. Don't do that. Your body is not designed for that. Your body is not made of 90-degree angles. And you're just going to spill the pelvis backwards. So again, your breath can be whatever you want it to be right now. I'm going to gently suggest a little forceful exhale through the mouth as your knees come in. Last two. And then settle. Legs wide, swish your knees. Come to center. Legs are going to still be wide, like actually really wide, and then lift up into a wide-legged bridge and totally lower down and roll to one side. Let's prop ourselves up on the elbow for a moment. So we're starting to get a little bit of scapular stability and scapular warm-up. I'm going to bring my top leg in front. This mimics the activity we just did on our back, right? When we brought the ankle up over the knee. So push down through that top foot. Your hand can be here for a little added boost. Bottom knee can be bent. Let's all try that one first. And just lift your hips. You can also have your bottom leg straight. We're just going to put a little more strain through the whole system. It's going to be a little less concentrated. So do what you need to do to make this part of your warm-up. You can also have your hand on the floor here. From here, graceful transition to the belly. Wiggle your elbows a little bit in front of you and a little out to the side. Fingers can be interlaced if that feels good, and rock right and left. Looking over your right shoulder, looking over your left shoulder, going with that theme of keeping the neck really mobile. As you look over your right shoulder this time, bring the right heel in, hold it, and then release. You're going to look over your left shoulder, bring the left heel in, hold it. Exactly. And then release. Let your knees splay apart a bit, and then this time we're going to focus on keeping the pelvis down so that you get a nice stretch across the front of the thighs by engaging the muscles at the back of the thighs. This is a concept called reciprocal inhibition. Whew. And relax. And then if you don't feel a little fire with this, keep pushing your pelvis down more and pulling the heel in more. So just a 5-second hold each side. This is going to be our last one. We've got another side for the shoulder stabilizers. Rise up onto hands and knees. If, like me, you're going to cross over. And then park yourself on your opposite forearm. Top leg reaches in front of you. We've already warmed up the hips in preparation for this. Hand to the knee, floor, or floating in the air. Bottom knee bends for starters. And lift and lower. Last 3. Beautiful. All the way back to the belly. Knees are apart. Bend the right knee and keeping your pelvis nice and level, swish your foot back and forth. Windshield wipe your shin. So by doing this, you're activating your hip rotators, internal and external rotators. You're keeping your pelvis stable, right? You're trying not to make a big twist in your back, not to make a big gap in front of the hip of the leg that's bended. And then you'll take it to the other side. Pelvis level with the floor. Breath is easy. There have been times in my life where I took my yoga practice really, really seriously. Very concentrated, very focused on the outcome of a certain pose. And it's really not what it's about. This practice is here to uplift the rest of your life. And so let yourself have joy in the practice and just explore. Settle your legs down, come onto your hands and back into your hands and knees position. And now we're going to straighten one leg back. Lift it up and down. So this alone is a beautiful action, especially if you feel that you can stabilize your abdomen with your hands. But if you're not sure if your back is doing the movement for your leg, for your hip, you can bring your opposite hand. So in my case, my left hand is on my belly, while the right leg lifts, while the opposite leg lifts, or to the low back. Although there will be a little bit of contraction in the muscle of your low back, you won't feel a lot of sagging or any sagging. Hand comes down, knee comes down, swish it around. Dynamic movements. Let's rock back 5 times. Knees apart, toes together. Optional curled under. And then rock a little to one side with your hips. And a little to the other side with your hips. Back through to center. Before we do the other side, micro down dog. So even though my hand started off a little in front of the shoulders, this is still a pretty short downward facing dog. I very purposely have my knees bent, so I'm stretching out soleus rather than just the gastrocnemius muscle of my calf. Lower down, reset, other leg. Float it up and down. Stay here, or hand gives you biofeedback for stabilizing. Easy breath. And then settle. Walk your hands a little bit forward, walk your feet back, come right back into that downward facing dog, but this time a little bit longer. And hands walk all the way back to your legs. Let your knees bend, let your head be heavy. Just stand here, shake out your head a little bit. This is our classic Uttanasana shape. Forward standing fold. We're going to bring our elbows now to the knees and just bend and straighten the knees a few times. I call this the quarterbacks. I learned it from some of my mentors in physical therapy, a really gentle and appropriate way to stretch your hamstrings, especially for people who have any hamstring strain. You can also rock a little right and left. If you do have a hamstring strain, stretching is probably not where you want to put most of your emphasis, or even hardly any of your emphasis. But just to get things loosened up, I think it can be really, really useful. Bring your hands to your thighs. Come into this hip hinge shape so that you're really folded at your hips. And do play with what it is to pour your weight forward and back. Know that whenever you're actually hip hinging, it's natural and normal to have your hips go back. Take a bend in the knees, rise up, roll your shoulders a few times. And then arms out, big sun arms, palms meet up overhead, ribs stay in, exhale, arms down, palms over the heart. Inhale, arms up, exhale, arms down, palms over the heart. I'm doing something really purposeful here other than trying not to smack my own wall. I am really making sure that my rib cage doesn't fly out as my arms go up and rock, and only get back into position as my hands come down. I'm trying to keep my ribs relatively down because my tendency is to try to get that lift not from the actual shoulder, but from these muscles here in my mid back. So this time as our arms go up, lots of length. Bend your knees. Exhale, fold it down. Walk it out. Downward facing dog. Set yourself up so that you can be in a full-length plank, arms straight as you go forward, round your upper back, squeeze your glutes. Bend your knees, tap them down to the floor, and option one is to straighten one leg and then the other from here. So you're in this very long table position, like almost a knee down plank. Or you can keep the legs straight and get a dynamic action inside of plank. Neutral, knees down, elbows are allowed to go out. Slowly lower yourself to the ground. All limbs off the floor, active locust pose. Root your hands, stay connected to the front body, anterior chain, and then hips go back, downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Lower to your knees. Bring your two blocks in front of you if you happen to have two blocks, and if you don't, no big deal. I'll tell you what to do as well. So when we are stepping our foot between our hands, I have a whole video on YouTube about this. It is actually really one of the more popular videos I've posted. When you're trying to step your foot into your hands, you got to just recognize that your legs are a lot longer than your arms. So if you happen to have blocks, they just make this whole thing way nicer, right? So if you don't have two blocks, if you have one block, you can kind of do that. If you don't, then I want you to come onto the fingertips of the leg that you're bringing forward. So we're going to start by bringing the right leg forward, right? Short down dog maybe. Come onto the fingertips of that right hand. Bend your right knee. Swing it forward. If it doesn't go all the way, super round your back. Let your knee go out. Wiggle it forward or bring the hand to meet. Let's go ahead and take the back heel down to the ground. Rise up. Don't worry if you go into 90 degrees with your front leg. We're going to straighten and bend. Straighten and bend this front leg. You can move your arms with me like you're breathing if you'd like. Inhale, arms back. Exhale, arms curl. I don't want anybody to feel a big stretch in either of these positions. Come into it, and if you need to, shorten it even more. And then you're going to beam your arms up and just get this nice big stretch here through the arms, that is. Look up between your hands, classic warrior one shape, and then root your hands right back down. If you have the blocks, I actually, believe it or not, feel more core when I use the blocks. So it's going to be round, root, lift, take it back, forward, knees down, optional, slow motion to the mat, body as a unit. Come into the back bend of your choice, big connection to your inhale. And then your exhale reconnects you to your front body. Try not to back bend even as you're coming out of the back bend. If you'd like, you can take as an alternative to down dog, a resting position here, something like child's pose. Shift your weight up and back, downward facing dog. Blocks or no blocks, option to be on your left fingertips. Left knee snuggles in, spine rounds, knee goes out. Yes, let your knee go out. And then your foot is going to come up as close as it can to the hands. Back heel down, wiggle your foot if you wish. Rise. Front leg does not have to come to 90. Straighten and bend. Straighten and bend. Keep it in. Keep the front leg bent. Sweep the arms. If you feel any big stretch, wiggle it back in. So there might be a stretch around the arms, but as far as the legs go, I don't want you to feel too much. Drop, reach, breathe. We'll bring the palms over the heart. Exhale, hands down. Step it back to plank. Roll forward as a unit to your belly. Roll your shoulders back. Connect to the back body strength. That means your glutes are working here. And let go. Reconnect to front body, child's pose, or down dog. One or two more breaths. And then shift it forward. Find your way back to table pose. So from down dog, knees come to the earth. From child's pose, you just reach forward like this. We're going to pivot on one knee. Let that foot go all the way off the edge of your yoga mat. Straighten out your other leg. In my case, my right leg just got straight. And then that same side hand goes to the top hip. Inhale, arm up. And exhale, arc into your rainbow shape. Head can be heavy, breath into the side body. Inhale, right back up. And then exhale, hand to the hip. Float this back leg. Bend your toes up towards your eyes. Hold it up as you point and straighten your ankle, your toes. So what this should be doing is working your outer hip pretty solidly, working your standing hip, kind of working your trunk a little bit, and then of course working the shoulder in a good way, right? Activating all the stabilizing muscles there. Sweep it down, hand to the ground. You have the option to take what's called the vinyasa, the lowering down. What I'm going to do is chin and chest to the ground, just to switch things up a bit. Come to the belly. I'm going to interlace my fingers, drive my knuckles back. Again, just to switch things up for the back bend. And then hands back down. Front body engaged, table pose. Spin the other knee, straighten the other leg. That heel comes down to the ground. Remember, wrist can be a little bit in front of your shoulder. And for anybody who wants to work on side plank, this is a really great position to spend some time in to build up your tolerance to having weight through the arms. So arm by the ear, up overhead, make your rainbow. Big, full connected breath. Top hand to your hip. Float this top leg up and keep it floating as you point and flex the foot. Last couple ones. And slowly lower this leg. Instead of coming onto hands and knees again, we're just going to come up into this position, okay? One leg is out to the side and you're kneeling on one leg. With the leg that's out to the side, toes can point up or forward, but you're probably going to be a little bit more comfortable if they're pointing up. Orient your pelvis however feels good, and then allow your pelvis to kind of rock back and a little to the side as that same side hand glides down the leg. Look up past your top shoulder. Few breaths here. Oops. Toes are spreading. Drive the knee down, rise it up. Wiggle this foot in, bending your knee, foot flat, and then let's drop in for a little bit of a dynamic inner thigh stretch. Hand can be on top of your knee for added stability, or if you just really want to work your leg muscles, you can cross your arms over the chest. Don't forget to cushion your knee if you need to. Come all the way out of it. Lower this knee down. Let's take it to the other side. And then slide the same side hand down the leg. Opposite arm by the ear. Lots of side bending today, but this is nice. This is our gate pose, Parigrasana. So we did a standing pose, Warrior 1, Virabhadrasana 1. We did a couple of different variations of what's known as the vinyasa, the middle part of the sun salute. Come on out of this. Wiggle your foot in, flatten your foot. We did a lot on the ground. We're doing a fair bit in half kneeling, so this sort of halfway to standing position. Personally, I think that we should all probably spend a little more time in this position because it's really important link in the chain of getting up and down from the floor without using our hands. So, my 2 cents. Plenty more to say about that in my functional movement classes. And last one, rise out of it, bring your legs together, and I'm going to offer a couple of different knee-friendly options, even if the first one doesn't look particularly knee-friendly, okay? So have your block or blocks available. You're going to put your hands on the block in the tall position. You're going to open one knee to the side and then the other. So if this does not work for your knees because of the pressure at the back of the knees or that range of motion, you can almost do the exact same thing on hands and knees. And if even that, you're kind of sick of it, you're over it for today, totally come onto your back and you can just drop your knees out like the way we did in the beginning, okay? So if you're here, you could even have both knees come up at the same time. Play with a little balance just for fun, just to have a simple, playful shape. Even if you have to put your hands right back down a ton, that's okay. And then find your way, however you'd like, into sitting on your yoga mat, right? So what I just did is I moved to that really deep squat called Malasana to get back into sitting. And we'll roll our sitting bones back to the center of the yoga mat. Tuck one heel in, grab your blanket or throw pillow, sit yourself up on that, bend your other knee so the foot is flat. Inhale, arms up, just like we did in the beginning. Try not to go into a back bend here. And then exhale, spin towards the bent knee leg. You can have your hand to the front of the knee, like I just showed. You could maybe wrap your forearm, your elbow around the knee. And many yoga teachers will teach the elbow to the outside. My personal opinion about this is that elbow to the outside kind of creates a little bit of leveraging. So your arm works a tiny bit like a crowbar on your spine, which I know somebody out there is like, oh, that sounds delightful. No, I do not recommend that. I want you to use the muscles of your spine, right around your spine, to get into the twist. And then your arm is just a little bit of an anchor. Anchor is not going to move you anywhere in the ocean, right? But the anchor, other than down, but the anchor is going to keep you in place when the waves would otherwise move you out of place. Gaze past the back shoulder. Inhale, get tall. Exhale, get easeful. Asana, easy seat. Feel the breath changing the shape as you inhale, as you exhale. Unravel. Hug your knee. Switch your legs. Arms up, inhale. Exhale, spin. Hold. Relax. Gaze past the back shoulder. Breath is simply moving and changing the shape of this position from the inside. Your rib cage is constantly in motion. And we're going to use our next inhale to help us unravel. So inhale, chin back to center, chest back to center. Find your way to seated and take any final shapes that you want to make in seated. So I'm just circling with my belly button. It's that time. So if you would like to lay on your back, I recommend rolling up your blanket for under your knees and having a cushion for your head if you need to, and then go ahead and lower yourself all the way onto your back, arms or no arms. The thing that you want to make sure before you get settled is you want to make sure that you're actually comfortable. This is not cheating. This is not an austerity contest. It is not useful to lay flat on your back without any support if you don't feel comfortable. It's not useful to have the support if it feels like it's cutting off the circulation in your legs or something, right? So I suggest sliding the blanket just a little bit up so that it's under your thighs, allowing your knees to roll out, your feet to roll out. You can experiment with having your arms by your side with the palms face up. Notice if that feels comfortable. Or if you prefer to have your hands on the belly. You can notice if your chin is rather far from the chest, and if it is, you might add something like a low pillow or a folded towel under your neck. There's a lot of different things you can do in Shavasana to make it really nice. But if your low back needs even more support, knees bent, feet flat. Final adjustments for Shavasana, or you can join me in sitting up for meditation. The thing about it, the same rules apply. So you want to be comfortable. There's no point in being uncomfortable here. So I'm going to sit on a block. And I'm going to have a little pillow or blanket, just lightly supporting my knees and ankles. Find your position. Hands rest where it feels comfortable. Tune your attention to your breath no matter where you are. Lips together, teeth apart. If your mind is still working really hard, let your breath wedge some space between your thoughts. That usually involves bringing your awareness, your attention back to your breath. Wherever you are with your next inhale, if it feels authentic to you right now, notice if a gentle smile could emerge on the face organically. Your breath initiate movement into your fingers and into your toes. Taking the next 3 breaths to slowly turn to your side and use your top hand to drive yourself right back to seated. Finding a comfortable seat, Sukhasana. We'll bring our hands together over the heart in gratitude for this space, this time, this community, all over the world, or at least all interconnected through these invisible wires. Breath full into the ribs, into the belly, into the back body. Please join me in taking a full breath in, letting go with a sigh, and feeling a sense of ease. May we take this ease with us throughout the day to come, throughout the weeks to come, throughout the months to come. May it be contagious. May it infect other people with more ease and feed upon itself to create a more harmonious, peaceful world. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you.